Today is January 26th. It's a Monday. It's the second day of trading. It's 8:11 p.m. When I was working, I used to work in Orlando, Florida for a company called Micros. And uh, and while I was there, I was by myself, and my kids were in Boise. My ex-wife was in Boise, and this was this was um, this was my last job as an engineer. That was my last job. And while I was there, the director, the test engineering director, uh, because I was working long hours, I have to work long hours because I'm not as smart as other people, so I have to put in the time. And he says if you work that much, that often, um, you're gonna. Uh, he says something, and I told him, well, all this is I suppose all the pressure and heat and all that stuff causes something to turn into a diamond, right? Apparently, it came out that way. And so I told him, well, whatever the situation is, all this thing, whatever's happening, is going to turn me into a diamond because essentially, essentially, all this pressure and all this difficulties, however that situation arose, eventually is going to turn. Anyway, it made sense back then, right? So then, then a couple days ago, and I started to think about this. I started to think about this now. The reason I thought about this is because I now see something that is workable. Okay, I now see something that is a legitimate means for entry. I see it. I see it. Whereas before I was like, what's going on? I can't recognize. I don't know what's going I don't know what's what. Okay. So essentially what I had to do was pick up every rock to see what was underneath it. Right. But now when I look at it, after 5 years, uh, with this trading career that had started many, several decades ago, right? Several decades don't even count because I was not even into it. I was my primary occupation was an engineer, and I had no idea, absolutely zero clue, how trading worked out. Right? Um, for instance, I would buy a call. I would buy a call option, and then I would buy a put option, strangling it as a buyer. Okay, but if I'm a seller, it makes sense. But I'm a buyer. So what that is essentially is it, that is essentially the logic behind it is okay. If it drops to here, I'm gonna sell one and I'm gonna ride it back, kind of thing, right? It just doesn't make any sense, but it made sense back then, a couple of decades ago. All right, so I had no idea, and then past 5 years, I've been looking through all this. I've been trading and trading, but I couldn't recognize why I was trading. I could not I could not understand because um, I was not following what these YouTubers are talking about either because I couldn't attach myself to what they're saying. These people who are on YouTube, I could not follow, and I did belong to one of those trading like discords, but the way that this was structured, I could not I couldn't figure it out because I lacked the experience in the market. And then I would look at the YouTube and I would look at the training materials, but it still didn't make any sense to me, right? Because it still doesn't make any sense. What is that? What is a major trend reversal? What is it? What this doesn't make any sense. I would view the videos over and over and over, but it still didn't make any sense. Then recently after trading in and out, but the mind was never. really grasping the concept of what trading is. So even during the time, like 4 years ago, I would buy options, okay, and then I would enter without knowing what to do. There was no foundation of entry because it looked like it would go up. The only reason why I entered into a trade is because it looked like it was going to move up or it's going to move down, right? That was the primary basis of my entry into trading. Then then recently then I realized okay, okay, so if I enter coincident of support and structure, then the result has a higher probability of of resulting in a better outcome. The win to loss ratio is higher. Okay? And then I began to see a higher uh, credibility, the validity in the trades that I was making. It made more sense, right? And so when I look through it in the time periods, I look throughout the chart patterns, and I see that in certain locations, I see okay. So if I'm so when something is moving sideways, uh, I can already tell. Okay, so if I enter there, it's obviously just going to move sideways, and there's no up and down movement, and so the trade is going to be null and void for quite a while. But if I'm and then on the contrary side, if the trend is moving down and I go along, obviously that is a formula for a severe drawdown. Okay, I can see now the simplicity in trading is to look at the three possible possibilities in a current price action. If it's moving sideways, I probably don't want to trade that, and the results will be mediocre. Second part is if something is moving down and I'm going long, that's obviously a formula for a severe loss. But if I get into a situation where it perfectly aligns with the support and a uptrend that is initiated, of course it could flip around. Instead of being a trend reversal, it could be a pullback. At which time, when I'm going long, the pullback is just going to cause a severe loss, and supported with a stop loss, it's going to minimize that loss, obviously, right? And so what I realized is that I've been actively, okay, inactively, I've been trading for many decades, right? I wouldn't say trading. It's just like I don't even know what I'm doing, but I'm putting money in. And if it goes up, it's good. But if it comes down, it's not good. And chances are the compounding of emotion and not knowing anything caused me to lose everything, right? So now I'm looking at it, and that's what's been. Now I was looking at it for 5 years, and 5 years I was looking at it, but I still didn't realize what what I was supposed to be looking at. I'm supposed to be. That's why people look at volume. People look at volume to indicate that there's going to be interest in the direction of what the trend is. Higher volume, obviously. If there's a stock market crash and there's a high volume crash, obviously there's going to be a high volume. It means that it's going to go down. But if there's a high volume to an uptrend, then it's going to go up. Okay, it's a very high probability kind of a setup when those conditions exist in that particular time frame. So then I thought to myself today, uh, it's hard. It's hard. Apparently, in America, there's a park where you could pay a fee and then you could dig for diamonds, right? But you have to dig through it quite a bit. You don't know where it is, and and but but the fact is, there is a park where diamonds have been discovered, and people have taken out of it, and then they can dig through it and they can get diamonds out of it. That in itself is pinpointing to a location in a geographical location in America where there is diamond. But if you do that somewhere else, you won't find it. So although it would be difficult to search through that area to find it, but in a general vicinity, there's a higher probability of finding diamond in that area. Okay? So then I thought to myself, trading is like finding a diamond in the rough. Okay? I just realized that trading trading is about trading is about finding a diamond in the rough. Okay? A diamond is a location in an area where I know there's a high probability where I am able to put some size on, which meets my constraints that allows me to have an edge in the market. Any other places with a inverted thinking will cause a severe drawdown. But in those certain areas where I know those several conditions do occur, I have an advantage over the market because I know that certain things will result based on that specific location. And so trading has now become a diamond in the rough. It's like an essay on trading. It's just like it's it's fascinating. It's fascinating that I had no idea. Okay, I even looked at the syllabus for several different these companies who train people how to trade. I looked at it. There's some things in there, but there was no. It never occurred to me. I had no clue. I had no clue. Trading is essentially, now that I look at it, there is specific spots that tells me with specific confluences, there is a high probability certain things will occur in that area, right? That's what it means. And I just realized that.